Alrighty. Hello? Hi! Hello! Hola, hola, buenas noches, slash tardes, slash, domingo es? Hello, 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 hello. Hey there, hi there, hello there, everybody. Welcome, everyone. Sorry about that. Welcome. Crystal K reporting in. How we doing? I am here. Are we here? I wonder if we are. We'll see. We'll see. But further announcements holding. I just wanted to check in really quickly. I had quite a rambunctious week. It's been a fun week. We're not super quick gonna recap. I just wanted to come and say hello on things. And also there's no music playing. Let's fix that. We should probably have some sound. There we go. Yay! There we go. And let me also turn it down just a smidge so we're not getting drowned out by the noise. There we go. Let me know how sound goes. If we are good, if we are Gucci, let me know. But my friends, I hope we're doing well. I hope we're doing swell. I've missed you. And golly gosh, where do I begin? I always feel like I freeze up when I start streaming and I just am like, hi, what do I talk about? So, a couple things. First and foremost, there's a title for once, and I actually know what I'm going to do today. For once, we're actually planning something. Spontaneity is still going to happen on this channel, but watermelon. I would like to ask, for anybody that is viewing this either currently, right now, or who is possibly lurking in the background, if you're just a shy little bean who doesn't want to speak up and say anything, that's okay. I understand. No worries. But if you are here, and maybe you're watching this at a later date as a VOD, thank you! Thank you! Quickly, to recap, I would like to address, if people have been wondering, for those that are actually checking anything out that I do, I'm very grateful. You might have been wondering, why on earth am I posting so much more lately? And there was a reason for that, and thank you for not asking, because, I mean, gosh, I don't want to make this about me, but I do want to let people know that I have been trying to rebrand myself for forever. For almost, gosh, like the last few years. This is not a recent development. However, just specifically this year, I've been trying to actualize a lot of those things. So everything that's been cooking behind the scenes that I've been talking up a good game about and no one's actually seen anything, finally, I get to start showing you guys things that I've been wanting to work on for a really long time. And just had to take some time off to figure out my life, what on earth is going on with it. And I just wanted to be able to come back more consistent. So the last few years have been me finishing school, hating life. And now that we're done doing that, I wanted to take some time to really figure out, took a year off to do some nice me husa time, and to come back more consistent, come back stronger, come back healthier, come back happier, and just be present for you guys, because I really haven't been, and it doesn't feel good, you know. So sorry about that. I touched the mic. So what I would like to suggest that we could do possibly is that, A, thank you for being here. If you are coming for something specifically above my head, we will get to that. And I wanted to make sure that I address all the things in the room before we do that. But last week was fun. Considering that last thing I'll say about me was that I had one hell of a freak out concerning an adorable human-eyed toy-foon that I might have fallen in love with over the last week, and I have 100 more pins of him on my Pinterest. Vash the Stampede is wonderful. We're not going to fangirl again like we did last week. I got it out of my system for the most part. I still am reading fan fiction as much as I possibly want to. And I had a brief renaissance falling in love with Danganronpa V3 again, and how much I love Kokichi. The 2.5D love is strong. And I can never hear... I'll just say this much. I will now openly start laughing maniacally just the second that... What's the theme song called for Vash the Stampede 2023? I will giggling because I can't play it now. Dang it. I can't play it right now because copyright, but I can't hear, I haven't fallen in love with a theme song like that in a really long time. And it just makes me think of a wonderful 2.5D character that makes me really happy. So anyway, fangirling aside, we are here to learn some things, but all that to say, all these last minute changes are going towards something greater. So much more than you can imagine is happening that I'm just very excited for, but I don't want to promise anything. I just want to let you guys know that stick around because hopefully I would love to grow with you guys. That's the whole reason I'm doing this, is I've always just wanted to take up the world with me. I'm an eager beaver. I like to learn a lot of things, but I am not a professor. I am no professor. I do not want to be a lecturer. Excuse me, I threw up a little in my mouth. That is the last thing I want to do. I'm not here to yell at you guys and tell you what to do. I'm just on this journey myself, and you are more than welcome to join me if you wish. But yeah, so essentially, I thought we could start with something that I know very well. Going forward, I'm also going to close my door because Mother's singing in the background. She's having a lovely time. But it's warm in here. Religiously, every single time I start streaming, I start becoming a sweaty monster. Sorry. But I will keep my word. I wanted to let you guys know that we are here to do a little After Effects demo. Ouch! Hi, daughter. Oh, what did you say? There's a nickel under my feet. She's being very cute. Let's see if I can do it in one take. Oh, wait. What did the mochi say? What did the mochi say? Hi, honey. Oh, that's a very bright light. I'm so sorry. I love you too. You want to say hi to the lovelies? Oh, she's flopping. Oh, she's getting floppy. Hi, honey. What'd you say, honey? Get that bright light out of my face, Mom. You got it. I hope you saw any of that. But anyway, there is a lot of things that I would like to be able to share with you guys, and I'm just gonna say right now, the sky's the limit. I am a religious self-learner. I am wholeheartedly very stubborn, strong generalist, master of none. I want to learn a lot of things, and if any of those things just happen to be on your list of things that you're interested in learning, great. But mainly, I guess my main thought is, where I'm coming from is, I took a really long deep dive that I'm hopefully going to be able to document, and you can see the entire journey that I took last year on this weird pilgrimage that I went on, figuring out my life. I guess getting out of college, I was in a position where I've been trying to look for work, and a lot of the skills that you need going into jobs these days, they do not teach you. You do not have all the skills that you are supposed to be equipped with most of the time, unless you are accepted into the major. And not everybody gets that chance. So if you were a minor like me, or you're just trying to learn your way through stuff, and you're filling in the gaps where you can fit in, yeah. There's a lot of things that are missing in the repertoire of skills that you're supposed to have when you get out. And I'm hoping to at least start closing the gap. So if we can start closing the gap together, that's the goal. So jump on over, come on in. There is something that I would like to offer those that come to these streams. Early birds always get the worm, so if you want to jump in, there's a little requirement that I will say. Number one, my door wants to close itself. One moment. How rude. My daughter doesn't deserve to be trapped in here because of wind. Oof. Here we go. I'm back. Plop. Where was I going with this? There's so many things that I want to say that I don't want to take up too much time to fill dead air, but I also am kind of wondering if there's anybody that would like to know more things. So I guess all in all, my game plan is to be able to help bridge the gap of there's a lot of things that we as people would like to know more about, and it shouldn't be locked off by locale or financial inconsistencies or whatever reason that you have that you can't learn something. Whatever the consequence of getting knowledge and being extorted for it? Hell no. Just no. There's a lot of online resources out there these days, so anything that I guess isn't Googleable, that you can't quickly look up and find out yourself, we're here to figure out together. On top of the fact that there's just a lot of online classes that I want to take, like a lot. I could pull up the list now, but it's egregiously long. I'm not going to, but there's a list of classes that I'm just like, I want to learn so many things. Software doesn't really have an end goal. All I'm going to say is I hope that my spastic ADHD brain can be of some use to some of you out there. That's all I'm saying. ZBrush, Maya, After Effects, Adobe Suite, what else? Just, I want to do graphic design, I want to do motion design, I want to do animation, I want to do character creation, sculpting. I don't know what I want to do yet. I really don't have an end goal, but I know that all the stuff that I do like looking at makes my brain jiggle and happy and excited, and just electricity starts running through it. So somewhere along those lines, I want to figure out where I live. Maybe I'm a director of some sorts. I don't know. I'm rambling longer than I expected to, and I do that. I'm sorry. Welcome if this is your first time. So I'm going to wrap up here, but I just wanted to let everybody know here that if you are joining me today, thank you so much. And stick around if you can till the end of the stream, because there is something I would like to announce, and you can work on it with me if you want to do something with me. I don't want to dedicate Sundays to more school time. That's not what we're here for. If you're like, I'm already sick of learning at stuff like in school, then, you know, this is extra superfluous stuff that you can just learn on the side if you want to. Excuse me, but open questions, classroom breakdowns, essentially anything that you're like, I want to know more about this. And if you happen to be in the same exact space that I am, where I'm a digital artist primarily, trying to get back into traditional art more so, but mostly digital. If there's software you're interested in, if there's online classes that you're like, yo, I'm totally down. Anything along those lines, that's where we're here to learn. We're a bunch of self-learners that can't learn the same things all by ourselves, but we can work towards learning those things together. At least that's what I'm hoping for. So jump on over. There's also a Discord where you can start filtering through all of that stuff, and you can start placing things. If you have notes to share, if you have info that you want to provide, please drop some notes in the chat. Drop some notes in the Discord. There's a hopefully, at some point, again, me thinking in the future, going to be a place where you can drop your notes and we can form the Crystal Library together and expand it much more since then. But anyway, stick around, clowns, because if you want to get more stuff to learn and have more access to things to learn, I have something for you guys at the very end of the stream. But only if you come. So, without further ado, let's begin. We are going to do a little small tutorial of After Effects. And if you can't stay the whole time, don't worry, don't fret. There is a VOD that you can watch much later on in time. And then, you know, if anything, this is just to help you guys. If you have questions that I can break down, feel free to ask or chime in at any time. But otherwise, I'm going to just roll on through, and you can watch the VOD at your timeline whenever you wish. Maybe we'll do edited tutorials on YouTube later. We'll figure it out. Still figuring out how to do all that as soon as I figure out how to add more hours of time into the day. But we'll try to make this quick, so we won't stay on it too long. I'll probably do a 30 to an hour long tutorial walkthrough, and then I might work on something else. But this is not a tutorial. This is more just a walkthrough / demo. If you have had thoughts about motion design and you're curious about what the hell is After Effects, because I've never even opened it or touched the software. If you're like, I don't really care, but I could know how to know this skill better. It's more so, I'm here to just show you all of the possibilities of what you could do with it, because there's a lot of options and the limitations are endless with After Effects. It's a very profoundly powerful software, much like Photoshop. So anyway, let's begin. So, my headphones are gonna keep falling. Okay. I'm gonna just take these off because I can't talk while I do it. So going forward, this is a brand new, just opened After Effects for the first time after you get through the first prompt of asking for, say, a brand new composition. This is what you land on. And if you've never ever touched After Effects once in your life, if you've never opened it, it may look a little scary in here. But I promise you, it's not so bad once you know your way around. So let's just break down some of the panels. I'm gonna just go through the list and the motions, and you stop me at any point if I'm moving too fast. Alrighty, y'all? So here's our asset manager, where we can put stuff in, we can import things. Here is our composition manager. If I can click on one of these either options, either one will do. New comp is usually what I go for if you want to create something from scratch, but if you have something pre-existing, say some footage, exactly what it says, then you click on that option. I'm gonna just go over here and put in, say, standard 19. Nope, that's the wrong one. That's not the name I want. We'll just call this Untitled for now. Untitles. 1920 by 1080 sounds good. Let's say 10 seconds. All right. So all this mumbo jumbo doesn't really mean too much. The default is usually pretty fine. But dimensions, frame rate, 30 is pretty good. 24 is usually industry standard. Anything lower than that is like an artistic choice where you get that stop motion kind of looky effect. And then higher frame rate, usually 60. I've never touched 120. I don't even know what that looks like. That's a fourth dimension I've never even visited. We live usually between 24 and 30 here, but anything other than that is an artistic choice. And then time. And then if you want to change the background, sorry, my stuff jumps over to another screen. All of this is an option, but you don't see the background when you render it out. So I'm gonna hit OK. Boom, yeah, there we are. I'm gonna zoom in, fit up to 100. There we are. All right. So again, this is my standard panel layout. It's really ugly. I don't really like what I look at when I see After Effects by itself opened up. There's a lot of other tools that people have made, and there's a lot of other plugins that wonderful creators have designed for us creators to make After Effects a little easier to manage. But as it is, it's a very standalone, powerful product. So let's say there's nothing happening right now, except for a honking truck outside. I'm going to also put my earplugs in because I want to hear the music you're listening to. And please let me know if the sound is too loud. There's so much competing with me! First my mommy is singing, and then there's a siren going by, and now there's a truck! Stop! Goodness gracious. Okay, let me know how audio sounds. Hopefully we're sounding okay. But, yeah, so, where were we? Yes, so let's open up my little checklist of things that we want to get to. I'm going to try to keep this as short and sweet as possible. In fact, I'm going to set a timer to keep myself on track because I don't want to take up all of your time. Let's start and see where we end up. Okay, so where were we? Yes, so interface basics. I don't know what I want to do with these. We'll figure it out as we go. Okay. So now let's just make something because I think that's the most fun thing to do. Going through the motions is pretty boring. So I'm going to, let's see. Oh, usually there's a tab up here. For whatever interesting reason, it's missing now. Where's my ribbon? Oh dear, are we lagging? Oh, After Effects, don't you dare. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. It has been kind of junky lately. Something in my window is missing. Where, oh, where could it be? This is what happens when I do it live. Okay, workspace. Here's a bunch of things that usually are in your panel by standard, and they just decided to not be here because I am starting brand new, fresh After Effects. Ugly, gross, by itself, hard to look at After Effects. No wonder nobody knows what they're doing in here. I'll show you another scene that usually helps me focus a bit more, but for now this is what we get. Now where, oh where would my shape layers be? Was it this? No. She's loading. Ah! There we go, I found it. Okay, cool. Can you please stop loading for 10 million seconds every time I click on something? That's really annoying. Please go away. Oh, After Effects, please don't do this to me now. Okay, thank you. All right, so I'm so sorry, y'all. It's gonna probably be a little buggy. Computer wants to be buggy today. Okay. So here's all the junk that I was looking for earlier. I'm gonna make a thing. I'm gonna just click on this button right here, which is my shape button. If I click and hold, I see some more options. Ooh, there's a rectangle, there's a rounded rectangle, and an ellipse. Let's make a circle for now. If I double click, oh, wait, hold on. she doesn't want to double click. Let's try it again. Okay, apparently it doesn't want to work anymore. Oh, I think if I control click. No, it's different in this version. Ew. Okay, fine. Still learning things. As you can see, I'm not a master, of course. The other thing I wanted to show you sometimes, which is very helpful, if I press, oh, is it this button? It is this button. It is the comma key, and also known as the double comma, the double quotation. That brings up this title action safe so I can see what the center line is. I'm gonna click and hold and drag Alt. And if I hold Control at the same time, it starts in the center. Lots of buttons. I'm currently holding Shift, Control, and Alt at the same time. And I made a thing! Look, I made a thing. It's a very boring thing. Toggling on and off with the Control key. Alright. So I'm gonna change this horrendously ugly ass color. I do not like that really bright highlighter tennis ball yellow. It's a little hard to look at. This blue feels Gucci. Let's go there. Alright. That feels good. Okay. We have a circle. How fascinating. But notice, if I move my little playhead here, nothing's happening. No movement. Rather boring, isn't it? Let's make it move. I say we make it move. Yes? Okay. So, here is the real power between After Effects. Think about it this way. When you traditionally animate something, for instance, like the old 9 Wise Men from Disney, when you were animating, you had to draw every single frame of animation individually. After Effects tweens for you. I'm gonna say it again. After Effects tweens for you. If you have no idea what that means, think about it this way. Instead of having the old wise men animate Donald saying hello, they just say H and O. And After Effects would put the L in between there. Basically, you set the beginning and the end, and After Effects will put all of the between frames in for you automatically. So there is no tweening at all happening here. You don't have to do that by hand. That is a whole nother software which After Effects is not for. I'm pretty sure Adobe Animate is for that if you want to do the more traditional animation route, which is standard frames per second. But After Effects helps you cheat. So instead of doing hand by hand keyframing, what we call... Oh goodness. As you can see, this is why I'm a beginner, because it's still my first time teaching this. And I'm not a teacher. I want to express again, I'm not a teacher, so please be patient with me as I navigate this with you. Yeah, so I believe the term is called keyframing. And we call it keyframing because we have these little stopwatch icons. And if you click on, let's say, I'm going to click on this button here. Position. Oh. What happened there? I made a dot. Still nothing's happening. But if I say, maybe move forward in time, and I move it, I'm gonna click on this thing in this panel in the center, and I'm gonna move it. Ooh, dots. We have something happening. I have movement. It went to the right a little. Really boring, but we have movement. Hey. Right? So the fun part is, essentially every single property in After Effects is keyframeable. As in, if I click on, say, scale, I can make it small. I'm gonna make it from, say, 70% to, let's go, 100%. And just like before, it's growing. See the tweening that I mentioned before? It's doing all of that for you by itself. I'm gonna also add one more property. Let's go to, say, opacity. And if I put the 100 over here, I'm gonna also, you can move the keyframe individually from the playhead. And if I click on this and say 0, oh, it's coming at you. So essentially, all of the between frames you're not seeing. You're only seeing the end, the start and the end placements of what the keyframes are doing. And that's the power of After Effects. You can basically do so much with just 2 little keys. And that's not the end of it. So, I'm gonna tell you right now, the meat and potatoes of where I live is this button here. Oh, it's called the value graph. It's so beautiful to look at. It probably is very scary and distracting, and you're already running away. Don't It's okay. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. I'm here to hold your hand. We'll get through this okay. Alrighty? So, bear with me now. This is your graph. And as you can see, it's a straight line. Constant. Yes, come in. Hi, Mother. Food came out good? I can't wait to have some later. Thank you. Why are you ominously walking away without talking?
Hey, Mo.
Daughter!
Hi, Mama.
Mochi says hi.
Hi, Mo.
They're looking at a very boring blue dot on screen right now.
Hi, baby girl.
Mother intrusion.
Hi, baby girl.
You know what, y'all?
Hi, Mo.
Keep talking. I'm gonna switch to my shorts because I'm hot.
Hi, Mochi baby. Hi, honey, you right up against the heat.
I don't know why she does that. It's so hot
Oh,
here.
my goodness.
I like the heat, apparently. Makes no sense to me either.
Mochi,
Silly girl.
you're a walking contradiction. You really are.
Oh, my silly daughter.
Love you to pieces, though.
Floppy baby just thinks I like the heat of the computer, apparently. Ugh. I don't know why. I always am sweaty beast when I scream. Ugh. Alright.
Now you can breathe.
I can. My legs are free.
All right, so
Mm-hmm.
I will show you how I did it. It's pretty much experimented.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for sharing. I definitely want some later.
So I made salad too.
Ooh, okay, I'll take some salad. No,
Yeah.
closed door all the way.
You want salad later or now?
No, later.
Okay.
In like 2-ish hours. Thank you!
Welcome.
No, I'm back. I had to transform my pants. They are now less pants and more short. I have pantalones that are cut in half because it was really hot in here. Have you been looking at this blue dot the whole time? Are you getting mesmerized by it? How about you look at it closer? What if I make you stare at it? Woo. Okay, what key did I press? I pressed the back tick key. It does not show up when I show you, but it is essentially the key in the very far left of your keyboard underneath escape with a tilde on it. This makes it full screen whatever panel you click on. Full screen. Full screen. Full screen. Full screen. Yes. Okay. So thank you for your patience. I had to transform my pants. I'm really hot in here, but now I am good. So hopefully Mother's delicious chalupa will be in my stomach later, but for now we have a tutorial to finish. So let's continue. I don't plan to do a tutorial very long. I just wanted to get you up to speed with as long as at least the bare minimum start of what After Effects can do, and then we'll go from there. If I still have time, I want to do some stuff, and then we'll see where we are. But for now, yes, so what was I saying? This graph is very straight and boring, but there's 2 points here. And if anybody is familiar with, say, oh, I don't know, Illustrator or Photoshop, a lot of Adobe's products tend to be very similar to each other. So this graph could be less straight. I'm gonna hit a button called F9. Look at that. It became curvier. Ooh. Okay, so here's what I want you to understand. Do you notice when I went straight, look at these dots here. If I go curvy, do you notice how they subtly change? Straight lines, a little bit less straight lines. So we call this powerful thing easing, my friend. When we use After Effects, basically the power of the keyframes comes from the straightness or the curviness of the curve. And this right here is my meat and potatoes. This is literally all I do in After Effects all day long. A lot of people just do this and just mess around with the curves. So I'm going to show you a before and after really quickly. Let me get rid of this tab. I'm going to go all the way over to my keyframe, which is at 100%. I'm going to click on that, and now it'll stay at 100%. And if you need me to do that again, let me know. I'm going to also keep this and keep it at 100%. My scale and my opacity now are unchanging because I took away their keyframes. Clicking on the stopwatch will start the keyframe process and also end it if you click it away. But it will stay at the setting that you had it at before. That'll default it. So all I'm going to really worry about is this position right here. And you may notice, After Effects is so smart. You guys are so lucky if you're jumping into After Effects right now. the X position and Y position are now separate. You don't have to worry about them being one thing. Let's just say that back in the day, they used to be one unit. You can undo it, and if you separate the dimensions, it's just you can now access both of them together. The only difference is now you have them as one, and you don't have the flexibility of editing them. So After Effects people, be grateful that you don't have to worry about that now. I'll explain a whole bunch more things later, but essentially, it is to your benefit to have these two dimensions separated. It just makes things so much easier. Anyway, so let's say I want to focus on just my X position right now. I'm going to also shrink this guy just a bit. I'm going to click on a corner and drag, holding Shift. And now I'm going to duplicate him. If I hold Alt and drag, I make... No, I didn't! It doesn't do the same thing like it does in After Effects or in Shucks. I'm going to unkeyframe because this guy isn't moving. If I move... Let's see. Clicking on this will also highlight it. And I apologize if I'm going a little all over the place. I apologize sincerely because this is my first time demoing something. This is just me figuring out how to do this, and you can follow along with me or you can find a tutorial that's much more suitable for your needs. But the benefit of this is that I can do this live with you guys. Hopefully the questions we can clear up together. Alright, so let's see. I want to make a copy. I'm going to duplicate this guy because if I click and drag with Alt, as you can see, that doesn't do anything. I'm pretty sure there's another way to do this, but for the most part, what I learned, I'm gonna click Control D. And now, I have another. What if I do it again? Boom. I have another. Ta-da! Alright. And for the sake of my OCD, I'm just gonna move these guys a little over here, so they are now centered. Let me look at my action title safe again. Comma key. This is not centered. It looks pretty good. Yeah. Alright. So we have them moving from left to right. Very boring. Yes? I'm going to also label these. So here's, let's say, they're going in ascending order. I'm going to say this is 1 constant. Control shifting with the upper key makes me move between my layers. Enter helps me rename my layers. 2 easy ease. And 3, surprise. Yeah. Go away. Alright, so, constant, look at these dots. Notice how they are evenly spaced out between each other. And then, if I click on, say, U, I'm going to bring up my keyframes. Also, there's a lot of shortcuts in After Effects. Don't worry about memorizing them all right now. You can easily just toggle this bad boy down. But if you want to see just your keyframes, if this is hidden, press the U key, the letter U, and it'll just show you your keyframes. Okay? So, what was that fancy key stroke that we learned earlier? F9, was it? Oh! Would you look at that? Can you notice that these two look different now? My key for a constant and my key for easy ease look different. It's an hourglass now. What could that mean? And also, the dot spacing, ever so slightly. Wow! Did you notice how they look different? Interesting, how did that happen? We may figure that out. But, let's look at the difference in graphs. If I highlight these, oh my! Do you notice a slight difference? So, again, the curviness of your graph makes a difference. I'm going to do one more thing, and maybe you'll start to figure out what's happening before I say it. I'm going to press this button again, F9, now that my keys are highlighted, boom. And again, nothing is different. The last two look exactly the same. But what if I made this one bigger? If I maybe play around with this. Now let's look at the difference. Oh wait, hold on. I want to make this nice and even, Steven. I'm going to make it just a little more obvious so you can see the real difference of what's happening here. Alright, we have a really nice trifecta going on. Let's see what happens. Look at these dots and look at the spacing between them. Let's see if you can see what's about to happen before I hit the button. Aha! Whoa! My last guy's real excited. Do you see the difference? Curvy keys make a difference. Okay, so let's isolate these boys. If I click on, say, this button here in the middle, leftmost little checkbox, I can solo my icons. So this is my constant. This is my easy ease. Standard baseline. It's looking a little bit nicer, but it could be a little cleaner. Here's my surprise. Hey! He's very excited. Okay? So, the mad science between these graphs I want you to understand at the very end of the day is the slopier your graph, the more excited your animations will be. Because they're going on a field trip. They're happily having a fun time. So, if your graph is very straight and very boring, it's going to be looking very boring. But the curvier you get your graph, the yummier it looks. And the actual science behind what's actually happening, to break down a little bit easier, is, you might have seen if you go to my Instagram, there's a latest tutorial that also breaks this down a bit easier. But the steeper your curve, the faster it's moving. The more horizontal your curve, the slower it's going. So if you notice, right about mya in the middle, the spacing is the farthest apart because that's where your frames are landing. And as you get closer, it's starting to slow down. So again, speed comes from the huge gaps in your dots and the steeper your graph. If I were to like really chug this thing all the way, look at the dot in the middle and look at how far away it is from everybody else. Wham! Yeet! It just goes. So again, this is exactly what you're seeing. Your dots are the frames of animation that are happening. And the further apart they are, or closer apart they are, is the difference between your animation. So let's say if I were to make this, what do you think is going to happen before I even show it? It's going to slow quit. It's going to ramp up. You don't even see at the end. Maybe if I add a little bit of a slope so you can see it finishing. Something like that. Okay? I'm going to also color these a different color. I'm going to go up here. My surprise can be yellow. No, color CK colors. We'll do with that. And my easy ease can be just standard pink. And then my yumminess in the center we have. Wait, I got these colors backwards. Oh well. You know what I mean. Standard is going to be pink. I want this color. Give me that. And again, if I'm moving too fast, let me know. Then the last one, yum, red light, green light. Somewhere in the orange family. That looks good. Okay, so do we start to understand the power of graphs? That is the main thing that I want you to take away from this example. At the end of the day, if you have no idea what the hell you're doing in After Effects, well, do not, I repeat, do not just do this. Because you're going to fall asleep. This, Boring Town, USA. Yuck! We don't like looking at that. We like looking at something yummier. Like, say, this. And that is how you master After Effects, just playing with the value graph all day long. So, I will also add, there are two graphs to After Effects, but we're not going to just talk about the graphs today. We're going to move on. So, the base of what you need to understand in After Effects is all right here. This is where all of your animation is happening. I'm going to make this maybe a little bit yuckier. This is a little bit too much excitement. We'll say just have it slow down at the end. There we go. That feels good. There is also a lovely little toggle that is fun to play with, but I don't tend to use it because it doesn't look as crisp. It is a little bit more of an animation hack. But if you press this little squiggle right here, underneath these three dots, ooh, what happened there? Do you notice a difference? Simply put without and with. And you really see it the more I ramp up the speed. Yeah. Notice the difference. That is the motion blur effect. And look at how it blurred, literally, my animation. Off, on, off, on. It's a very subtle effect, but it is very nice to look at when used right and correctly. Most professional motion designers will stay away from this feature because it's a little bit of a cheat. If you can still simulate that speed without it, you're a stronger animator for it. But it's just an extra bonus if you can make that happen. If you want that speed and that effect, usually it's always up to you. More situated for live action footage and comping and like that. All right. Oh, I don't want to save? No, I don't want to save. I'm good. Okay. So that is the gist of what I wanted to show you, but there is more to After Effects than just playing in the graphs. So I'm going to keep this guy for now. Let's keep my surprise friend. And for the sake of this experiment, I'm going to put him back in the center. Let me do one thing. I want to focus on red guy for now. Just my standard, oh, he's not moving anymore. Did I take away his animation? Oh no, I did take away the animation. I didn't mean to do that. Sorry, guy. Let's go, yeah, again, sorry, can't talk. Icon, which actually I think is covered up for you guys. You can't see it, can you? Oh, I'm sorry. Well, let me see. Can I actually make it a little bit? No, I cannot. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to deal with the cutoff. But I think if you can still see the eye, that's the gist of it. The eye icon hides your men. Okay. Last but not least, the last thing I want to show you is, well, actually not the last thing. There's a couple more things I want to show you. Let's see. I'm going to just make this a little more exciting. There's a lot of wonderful plugins that help you make these graphs a little bit easier to manage because they are kind of clunky after a while. You don't want to constantly go into your graph and edit and close your graph and edit and go back in. It's a lot. There are some lovely plugins that maybe you'll find out on my Instagram soon. If you stick around, I'll tell you what they are. But for now, let's just stick with this guy, okay? So there is another essential thing you need to learn about After Effects, and we call pre-comping. By the way, I just realized my mouse cursor is the same color as this guy. I didn't plan that at all. I'm gonna just show you what I mean before I tell you, because I think that's the more fun part. Show, not tell. So what if I duplicate this guy? But before that, I'm going to go in here and put pre-compose. I right-click, click pre-compose. There's a big old setting here that doesn't really mean much, but for the most part, the standard definition is fine. I'm going to just click on the second option. I'll tell you more about it later. Hi! Oh, hello! Oh, there's people! Oh, hi there! Welcome, 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 welcome. I've just been talking to myself like a crazy nut job this whole time, but hey, how you doing? Welcome, my friends. How we doing? All right. I hope we're doing pretty Gucci. We're doing a little bit of an After Effects walkthrough today. Hey there, Cryptic! Thanks so much, my guy. Appreciate ya. I'm doing great. I'm doing super gooch. Thank you for asking. I would say if you missed part of the demo, you are more than welcome to jump in later and just ask your questions as I go, or you can watch the VOD later. Scroll down and to the bottom of my Twitch to see more of the stuff that I offer. But there's a Discord. There's, oh, thank you so much. No problem. It's a weird territory town. But I guess really quickly, just to let you guys know, for those that are jumping in, thank you so much. Here's what I'm hoping for. Stick around, clowns, because After Effects tutorials are not just what I do. I want to learn a lot, and I mean a lot of things. And I hope that at least in some form or fashion, my ADHD can be of service to you guys. Because I want to be able to help other people, basically. I want to be a conduit of information. If there's things that I know that you're like, hey, what the hell are you doing? I want to know about that. I'm here to help you out and figure it out. And we talk through it together. I am not a professor. Be clear about that. I'm not a professor. I don't want to lecture people. Ew! I don't want to, excuse me, lecture people. No. But, oh, sweet! You know, actually, I am trying to get into UX UI very soon, but they tend to go in tandem. You need to have animation skills to get into animation in UX UI. So, sweet. Thank you so much! Thank you so much! Thank you. You don't need to know anything about motion design if it's not something you're into, but no, you're not. You are not screwed. I promise you, my guy. So let's continue this tutorial. And actually, if you have questions at any point, stop me, please, because there's a wealth of things that I could talk about, but we'll get to it. So 1 second. Excuse me. Mother's having a great time in the kitchen. She's having a singing good storm. Okay. So let's see. Where did we leave off? I don't want to recap the entire thing, but essentially, if you're jumping into, quick question for those that are here, raise a hand or a thumb or an emoji if you have ever even seen this software before. If After Effects is something that you've not even heard of, or you know something about it, maybe you've opened the software, maybe you looked at the daunting UI and you were like, no, I'm good. Or maybe you've seen things online and you're like, that's cool, but I don't know how to do that yet. How are we feeling? I see a thumbs up from Cryptic. Okay. And if you're like, motion to what? What the heck is that? All right. So, sweet. Not a problem. We're all beginners here, okay? So, you have used it. Okay. Alrighty. All right. Sounds awesome. So here's where I can help you, because I'm here to just give you a really beginner demo. And when I say demo, I'm not here to be a tutorial kind of person. I'm here to just show you essentially all the things you can do with it, blow your mind a little bit, and maybe if you're like, oh, okay, I didn't know I could do all that, maybe you'll check it out later and then we can further break it down. But this is just to basically introduce you to After Effects. If you've never even seen the software, if you're kind of familiar with it but you're just kind of confused on how it works, because there's a lot of very technical things with it, this is where we can explore that space and talk it out, because I'm just like, I got out of college with a lot of questions. I'm like, how do I get a job in a profession that is asking me to do all these things that I wasn't taught? You know, I'm a graphic designer first, and yet graphic designers are expected to do motion design, we're expected to build websites, we're expected to do a lot of things, and they don't teach you any of it. So, here's my thought. If we could start to break that down and teach ourselves stuff, I'm a self-learner. I'm a very avid person who wants to go forward and learn as much as I possibly can. And if we can learn our stuff together, essentially. There's a Discord where you can ask all those questions. You can even ask some of the questions that I've already answered. Some of them are in my chat. There's also a place where you can just share art, because this is also an illustration place where we just draw and doodle sometimes. Graphic design, illustration, motion design, and hopefully soon, character sculpting. I would love to get into ZBrush at some point. Yo, so much is on the horizon. So stick around, clowns, and if there's any questions that you have, feel free. If I can answer them, I will do my best. But at the same time, we're all learning this stuff together. So I'm not a teacher, I'm not a professor, I am a super ADHD geek nerd who loves learning, and I just want to help you out if I can. So that's what I'm here for. But thank you so much. Let's keep going. So really quickly, what I started doing, and if you're jumping in late and you have some questions, feel free to check out the VOD later. The VOD channel is at the bottom of the Twitch. Scroll down and you can see my YouTube section, and you can see the rest of this tutorial that I've started doing. It was on and off, but the gist was, we have 3 guys here. Can you tell the difference? Well, hold on. Mr. Yellow looks a little too similar to the red. Let's fix that. One sec. He's too excited. I'm gonna just boop and boop. I'm gonna click on you, and I'm gonna hit a key called this button right, where is it? Here we go. Convert selected keyframes to linear. Ew! Look at that straight line! I hate it! Ew! Let's fix that, shall we? Give me that beautiful curvy F9 line. Oh yeah. Oh wait, no! No. I want my easy ease. Why did I put that here? Hold on. Let me look at all of these guys really quickly. So, I'm gonna hit some buttons real fast, because there was a few things that I did that I glossed over super quick. So, there's a straight line, which is my constant blue. There's an easy ease, which if I click this button twice, I highlight my keys. I'm gonna click on this convert to linear keyframes, and then press a button that doesn't show up at the bottom, but it's called F9, and it'll make it just the standard ease. Yep, exactly. And then if I go to my last guy, surprise, I'm gonna just press this button and move this a little bit, and maybe you tell me what you think the difference is. Whoa, he moved! Did you see that? Why did he do that? Now let's look at all of these. Can you tell me, what do you think's gonna happen before I even hit the button? Any wild guesses? Take a look at maybe these dots here. There's a bunch of dots that are evenly spaced out for constant. For easy ease, they're a little bit different, but not that much. And then, whoa, there's just one dot in the middle. So, for example, I like to show and not tell, so I'm just going to press the button. Whoa! Red light, green light just went off, okay? So, essentially, the gist of this lesson is, the curvier your lines, the funner and yummier that the animation is. Oh, it's so juicy. Oh, it's so yummy to look at. Yes? So, if you have very straight lines, I'm going to press this little notch right here. This little singular dot is going to make my keyframe solo. And I'm going to click on the X button and I'm going to just let it go. Straight line, boring. Curvy line, a little less boring. And then third line, yummy. Okay, so that's the essential gist of what After Effects can do. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I will say this, if you're not so much into motion design, but if you're into, say, animation, graphic design and animation are not that far apart. You can just make your designs move. But the gist of what After Effects is brilliantly good at is tweening. And I want to say tweening by, oh yes, do I personally put math expressions on After Effects? Yes, you can! You absolutely can. And we can dive into that if you want to. I would like to show you some very beginner expressions if you want to dive into that, absolutely. And a lot of this stuff, all this junk I learned comes from a wonderful website called School of Motion, where I learned essentially everything After Effects self-taught. But yes, I can show you if you want to get to that. But I want to give you a little more details on how to do the basics first. Yes, coding expressions are more than welcome. After Effects lives on Python code, yes. And that's where the really, really detailed stuff can happen, okay? So for now, this is like beginner territory. This is just if you've opened After Effects for the first time and you're just like, I am scared. What is this UI? What is this interface? I don't know what's happening. Ah! It's too scary. This is just to give you a little breather of like, it's okay. Take your time. Take a deep breath. We're going to get through this together. I'll hold your hand the whole time, chump. We're here, okay? Ow, knuckle. All right, so, but yes, so basically, as long as you understand the very gist of your graphs and making them curvy, if you check out my Instagram again, there's a small little tutorial in there where if you see your curve being more vertical, the speedier it is, and the more horizontal, the slower it is. So it starts to slow down as it gets to the end. Look at Mr. Yellow. It's going whoop, and then it's woo, a little bit slower. Okay? Now, I'm going to go in and answer Mr. Cryptic's question. You wanted to know about expressions. I'm going to teach you a very basic expression that all the babies learn first. And it's actually on my Instagram. It's called wiggle. And maybe you'll find out why it's called that. But let's just make a basic shape. I'm going to make, let's do a star. That's fun. I'm holding down shift to make it vertical, or I can let it go and make it super twirly. And I'm also going to hold, let's see, this button makes it bigger. This button, nope, nothing happened. I'm not sure. All right. I'm also going to hold my comma key to build my action safe so I can see where the center line is. And last but not least, I'm going to go over to all of these things over here. Where is my align tool? Don't get scared. It's okay. It's okay. Oh, there it is. Oh, After Effects, don't freeze. Don't freeze. Don't do this to me. Come now. Come back to me. All right, fine. She's freaking out. Hold on. She's loading. The spinning wheel of death. Okay, we're back. I don't know why, but it's got really scared. We have align tools now. I'm gonna put this. Let's see. Oh my goodness, she's loading so much today. Oh no! Hey, if we crash, we crash. Hopefully we don't crash OBS though. All right, we're back. I don't know what happened, but we're back. Woof! Okay, take a deep breath. After Effects was making her breathe. All right, we're here. I'm gonna put this up here. And, by the way, any of these little notches you can move in any place you want. This is the default setup that After Effects gives you. It is so nasty though. I do not like it. Oh no, Clip Studio is crashing on you. Careful now, man. I hope it wasn't because of me. Alrighty, so I'm gonna click on my star. And now that it's highlighted, these options come up, and just like Photoshop or Illustrator or any of your Adobe software, if you are familiar, you can align these tools to the center. Alright, now notice, this little button is not in the center. Why is that? There's a reason for that, but we may find out later. I'm gonna just, yeah. And I also, if I hold Control, there we go. Now it's smack in the center. So just briefly, I'm going to talk a little less about the technical things. You pause me if you have questions. Yes, I do, Cryptic! Oh, I have so many plugins, and I'm happy to show you what a lot of those plugins are later, because the bare bones After Effects that you get is a very robust tool, but it is a little complicated, and that's why I think it scares a lot of beginners off. Plugins that lovely folks have made over time, which if you hadn't heard of, plugins are essentially just community-created tools that people make to make your software easier to use, or for them easier to use, and they just share them with everybody. You can buy them, some of them are free, but I have a lot and I'm happy to show you, and there's some on my Instagram that'll be popping up this week if you check out on Friday, where I drop all of my nuggets. Some of my most used plugins I'll be showing there. But I'll also show you here today because magic happens on the stream. So let's make this star dance, shall we? I'm gonna close up this twirly little thing, maybe my layer a little small. I'm gonna also highlight it. I'm gonna click on the colored box and let's make it yellow so I know what I'm looking at. And I'm gonna call this, I hit enter to I hit enter to edit my text, and I'm gonna call this wiggle. Okay, by the way, welcome. I'm crazy. I'll be talking like this the whole stream. I'm sorry if I'm a lot. I'll try to calm down. Yes, absolutely. I'll break that down. So let's answer your first question. You were asking me about arithmetic expressions called coding. And yes, absolutely. So for example, if I want to make this baby dance, I'm going to hit my P key, the letter P, P is in Paul, and it brings up my position. Now, you newbies lucked out. Back in the day, your positions are now separate, X and Y. If I move X, it moves on the X axis. If I use Y, it moves on the Y axis. Standard enough, right? But for the sake of this experiment, I'm going to unseparate the dimensions. What just happened? Well, now I can move it on the X and the Y. Amazing. For example, there's not a lot of reasons why you would want it in the same, but you can ask me why later if you want to. But for the sake of this example, I'm going to separate them one more time just so you know. But I'll just say this right now. Separated dimensions are just easier to work with. It's just easier. That's why it's defaulted to that now. It's just your best friend. So I'm going to press the Alt key and click on my left. And now, oh no! Words in my animation! Don't freak out, don't panic, it's okay. Okay, so all of a sudden I pressed this button and some text popped up called Transform Exposition. What does that mean? Well, think about it in layman's terms. It's transforming the exposition. If I press play, nothing's happening. Very boring, yes. But this essentially is where your meat and potatoes for code happens. So I'm going to write a very, very simple piece of code we can all learn, and it's very, very easy. Promise I won't scare you away too fast. If I go too fast, just let me know, okay? I'm going to press W. And all of a sudden, all of these extra little things happen. Some functions that are pre-built into After Effects will pop up. Let's start with wiggle. And wiggle goes with two what they call arguments. So in order for a function to work, you need to have some arguments in there. And for the expressions, yes, I clicked Alt and I clicked on the stopwatch icon next to my parameter X position. And I can open it or I can get rid of it. Once your keys turn red, you have an expression in there. If there's a little drop caret, you have an expression. If I click on Alt and click left again, it goes away. Yep. So I'm going to click on my X position one more time. Alt, left click, and it opens up this little caret here. And I'm going to click wiggle. Oops, that's not how you spell wiggle. There we go. So really quickly, I'm going to actually see, is it, where would wiggle be? This caret brings up a bunch of extra functions that thankfully, because After Effects is smart, they built this in for newbies like us that have no idea how code works, and there's a lot of default templates that are put in here. So I'm trying to see, is there a wiggle property? No, I don't think so. If there is, I'll find it, but later. So for the bare bones example, I'm going to just put some numbers, and then I'll break down what's happening later. But for now, let's say 1 and 5. And I'm going to exit by clicking away. And then, ooh, she's dancing! Very small! dance a little bit more. Give me a number 1 through 5. Give me a number 1 through 10. Let's go with that. Random number 1 through 10. Go. What have you got? There's no wrong answer to this. 3. You got it. Okay. I'm gonna put 3 in this first notch. Okay. Number 1 through 100. Random number go. Any number will do. 75. Alrighty. Nice and even. I like it. Alright. Now let's take a look and see what happens. Ooh! She's dancing! Look at her dance! That's a happy star. I'm going to even make this a little bit bigger. This is my timeline where I can see action happening. I have it locked into 1 second, but we actually have 10 whole seconds in here. And I'm going to just let her dance. Oh, look at her go. Ooh! She's dancing. She's dancing. So, the beauty of expressions that, at least for example, this specific expression, wiggle, you can kind of tell what it's doing. She's wiggling. Yeah. How do I separate the X and Y position? If I right click on either of the positions and this checkbox is enabled, it'll show that X and Y are separate. If I check it again, they will fuse once more, and you now have 2 properties instead of 1. And the magic with that is you can basically move them in any place. But here's the only down part that I will say if you do want to have your dimensions fused together. The default with having them separate now is a beautiful thing. Remember those wonderful graphs that I showed you earlier? Well, notice there's a red graph and a green graph now. If I click on my position, and let's just say I want to move it on the X and Y plane, yeah. Oh, there's 2 graphs. Isn't that fun? Oh, but wait a minute. I can't edit them. Oh no, if I easy ease, there's no little fun tangents. I can't play with them. I can move them, but I can't control them. So that's the only downside to having them. What you do have, however, now I get tangents on this side. This is only changing where it's going, but not the speed it's moving. Look at my fun little graphs happening in the down low. Look at the bottom left worms. They're dancing. More dancing worms. Okay? So the only downside to having your dimensions fused is that you have a harder time editing the value graph, and it just kind of sits there. But there are 2 graphs to this, and we're getting a little off topic, but just to answer your question, there are 2 graphs. The value graph is what we were just looking at with the wiggly red and green worms. This is your X position, this is your Y position. If I click edit speed graph, well, what do you think we're going to edit with this? I'm going to also click edit reference graph, and this is just going to show you the graph underneath. You can only edit 1 at a time, but this is just showing you what you're doing underneath. So if I'm moving too fast, please let me know. The speed graph you're familiar with. Yeah. I would say I think that's the one that most people learn first by accident, but it is actually the harder of the 2 to learn. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm holding Alt and shifting scroll with my middle key. And now I can come in here and see what's going on a bit better. There we go. Look at that beautiful hill. Okay. So take a look at my dots one more time. I'm holding middle key and space to pan. And just like before, I have tangents here. Now take a look at these dots up here while I'm moving this. Ew. Ah, we have a slightly sharper hill. It's gonna stab you, yeah? I'm gonna also come back in here and just make this, boop. I just hit N, and I was gonna say, by the way, please don't freak out about all of the shortcuts. These have been memorized over 3+ years. If there's a lot of shortcuts to memorize, there are, but they are easily manageable with just your mouse too. Shortcuts just make the world easier to use, okay? All right, so, same as before. You! It goes, you! It slows down. So in a weird sort of way, your graphs are doing the exact same thing. The only difference is your speed graph just fuses all of your dimensions to 1. So it helps out if you have something like position fused. And there is a reason for, you know, you may never know why. Sometimes you want to have your positions separate, or it's just easier to have them as 1 dimension. And when I say dimensions, I mean basically 2 places to enter a value. You have your X on the left and you have your Y on the right. And clicking these lovely parameters makes your graph dance, okay? Again, stop me if I'm moving too fast. I'm gonna take a bite of watermelon to let you digest all of the junk I just said. Okay. But I'm going to go back to the wiggle example for a second. Okay? All right. So let's go back for the sake of this example. I'm going to separate my dimensions one more time. Again, I right-click to bring up this menu, and then I click, and it's going to separate my dimensions. Whoa! They look really different. Interesting. Notice how when I separated them, I now have 2 keyframes. My hourglass, I now have 2 instead of 1. I'm going to go back to this. All right. If I click on my keyframe while they're highlighted, boop, boop, they go away. And it goes back to the default position it was sitting in before I made a keyframe happen. Okay. So we were talking about wiggle, yes? My friend Cryptic here told me, he said 375. Okay. So now it's dancing again like it was before. He's doing a jig, and he's having a wonderful time. And essentially, the best part about expressions is that they are all permanent, as in, I didn't animate a single thing. The computer animated this for me. And this will go on forever. Forever. He'll be dancing at 10 seconds. He'll be still dancing at 100 minutes. He'll be dancing for 5 days if I want to render this out. He'll dance as long as he wants to. But if I wanted to hand animate this, you see how much work this would be? Absolutely not. Okay. Let me see. Actually, can I bring it up? I'm going to show you really quickly. If I go in here, I'm going to click on this guy. And if I click on this graph, look at this graph. Do you see how many hills we have here? How long do you think it would take me to animate this by hand? Oh yeah, hell no. Yes, expressions are very powerful, and they are all basically keyframeable with some practice if you know what you're doing. So the benefit is expressions go on forever, but sometimes the scary part is, oh, I don't know how to control them. I don't know when I want it to stop. I can't tell it when to stop. That's the scary part, okay? So I'm going to give you some hacks real quick to tell you. This is getting a little bit more into advanced territory, but please let me know if you want me to slow down or you're just like, this is way too much for my brain today, okay? So the numbers I put in here, essentially, let's look at them. We had a 3 and a 75. If I take this 3 and make it 1, oh, my graph's got a bit bigger. And now he's dancing a little bit slower. See what I mean? So the lower the number for the first parameter is essentially your time, the frequency of its movement. The lower the number, the slower it goes. And then if I put, say, like, 10, whoa! He's gonna do the jig. The higher the movement. He's dancing, he's freaking out, he might be having a seizure, slow him down, is he okay? Okay? And then essentially the second thing that you can tell, if the second number is if the first number is all about frequency, the second number, take a gander at what you think it might be. If I make it smaller, oh wait, hold on, that's not a good way to see it. Let me make this a little easier to see. There we go. Essentially, first number is all about time and speed. Second number is amplitude, or the distance it's traveling. So the smaller the number, for time, the slower, and for volume, the smaller, and then the bigger the number, the bigger the movement. So if I were to put in something like a hundo, oh, he's gonna be dancing. And I'm gonna make it 3 seconds just to keep my computer moving pretty quickly, just to see what's going on here. There we go. So he's gonna be doing a really big jig. He's freaking out, yeah? Okay, so here's the question that comes a lot of the times with expressions. What if you want it to stop? That's a very good point, because you don't want him to dance forever, unless you want this entire animation to be just a freak out. Well, we have something called expression controls. So for the sake of this example, I'm going to move a little bit quicker here just to show you what you can do with them. And if I go too fast, please let me know. I can slow down, or you can watch this at your leisure another time, whenever you wish. But we're just here to ask questions. Just be curious. Please don't feel offended if you're like, I don't get it. Just stop me. Let me know. Okay? So I'm going to right click, and I'm going to create what's called a null object. And it's centered right in the middle of my screen. Only reason my star isn't moving is because he's wiggling right now, so he moved away from the center. But the other thing is I can disable my expression at any time with this equal mark, and it's just a normal star again, and it does nothing. So I can turn on my expression with the equal sign, I can turn it off. So this null does nothing by itself. By itself, it is just a standard flat frame. It's just basically a container, a holder. It doesn't do anything. Excuse me, it won't render anything, it won't do anything, and frankly, what the heck do you do with it if it does nothing, right? Well, what a lot of times people will do with the null is it is great to control other things. So for example, you can perhaps parent things to it. If I were to move my null and the star becomes my child, it's following my star, it's following my null wherever I want it to go. There's a lot of things you can do with a null. And I did that by clicking on this little wind up whip, and I can drag it anywhere and it'll go to a lovely little layer. If I drag it nowhere, it goes right back home. But if I want it to come to the null, I highlight it and now it's parented. There are a lot of very complex topics that we could further dive into if you want a further explanation. But for the point of this tutorial to answer Cryptic's question, a null, for the sake of this experiment, is going to be my placeholder to control this expression, the wiggle essentially. Okay? So I clicked some buttons. This is a plugin that I tend to use. It is a lifesaver. Control plus, or control space, I'm sorry. This is a wonderful Copilot. Video Copilot made this expression that I think is essential to any After Effects user. If you want to use anything in After Effects, you kind of need it because it's just so much faster. I will show you how you were normally supposed to do this though. So with my expression, with my null selected, I'm getting kind of technical, but again, bear with me because there's a point to this. You can access your effects in this effects panel, but look at how clunky this is. Do you want to scroll through this every single time? No, usually you don't. And if you know what you're looking for, you're just like, I know what it is, I just want to get to it. You can also access your effects up here. Nothing is available right now because it's not highlighted. Oh no, she's loading. Oh, why'd I do that? Okay, for the sake of today, we're just not going to touch this top ribbon because it's just going to freak out every time I touch it. Oh, go away, it's okay, honey. Oh, PC, it's okay. Pat, 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 pat. Please stop freaking out. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Hang in there, everybody. I need your strength. Cheer on my PC. She'll be alright. Alright, we're back. Great. Okay. So I guess we're gonna have to do expressions over here because the ribbon is another way you can do it, but she's still loading. Oh, she's still loading. I'm gonna get some watermelon. Everybody stretch, pet the cat, pet the dog, do a moment, do a jig. Maybe wiggle. Do a wiggle dance for yourself. Okay. There we go, we're back. Okay. Apparently anytime I try to use effects, it just panics, so I'm just not going to. That's the way you're supposed to do it. Hopefully your computer doesn't freeze up like that and get stage fright every time you do that. Hopefully. It doesn't usually do that. I just don't know why today. I guess OBS is also making it move slow. Okay. So, there is a thing I'm trying to get to, and I will make it as easy to understand as possible. But again, this is kind of technical stuff. Control space, I'm using a plugin. If you want to access it, I will happily drop the link later today. Or you can wait till I release it on Friday. But I'm going to look up slider control, and this is underneath an entire preset list of controls that you can use for expressions. So there's essentially an entire menu dedicated to expression controls that we could totally talk about all day long another time. But for now, this is just a blank value. If you can see up here, this is just a number. It's not doing anything. It's just a number. Nothing is happening. Purely this is an integer that I can use to feed back into my expression. So I'm gonna put control right here. And also, if I press E, oh, there's my effects. E for effects. Okay, so let's say I want to control the numbers in here. Yes, there's a way to do that. I'm going to write some code super fast, and hopefully you'll see where I'm going in a moment. If I lose you, stop me, okay? I'm going to create a variable, and I'm going to call it, let's say, frequency. Remember those arguments we were talking about earlier? In between wiggle, you have two arguments. You have your frequency, the speed, and you have your amplitude, the distance it's moving. So for the sake of this, I'm going to say frequency equals this effect. Oh, it just brought up a whole bunch of junk. Whoa! There's a lot of stuff happening in here. I'll talk about it later, but for now, nothing's happening. So I'm gonna really quickly rename this to frequency. If I go up here and press enter, this is my frequency control now. And this is essentially the bread and butter of what a lot of coders sometimes do. When you get to be a coder, you're building tools for other people to use. It's a lot of arduous, very monotonous, and sometimes not very interesting to look at work. But it makes everyone's life infinitely easier, and it makes yourself a lot easier to manage if you know how to use code properly. It took me a long time to figure it out, but if a noob like me, adult without math brain, can figure this out, it is possible for everybody, okay? All right, so I now have a frequency control, and if I duplicate this, because again, two arguments. I need two arguments. I have a frequency argument, and I'm gonna also put amplitude for my second argument. I feel like I'm losing people here, so please let me know. But I'm gonna also make another variable, call this amplitude, and I think you might realize where I'm going with this. There's a point I'm trying to get to, and hopefully it'll start to make sense as I go. Okay, if I lost you, it's okay. I promise it's okay. I'm gonna show you and not tell you as much, okay? So I'm gonna replace my arguments in here with my variables. Frequency is now gonna replace the number 10, and amplitude is now going to replace the number 100, where my amplitude was sitting. And I'm going to exit out, boom. Okay. Nothing's happening. So boring. Why? Well, there's zeros happening up here. There's no values. So what if I put my numbers in here again? And now let's see what happens. Oh, it's dancing again. And if I were to make this 0, it stops. So at this point, you can kind of see there is a lot of technical stuff happening behind the scenes, but if you can finagle your brain to figure it out, I can speed up or, ooh, she's losing it. Or I can slow down. And it's literally happening in real time. If I were to make this, say, like 2 or 1. So now you are asking, can I keyframe expressions? With expression controls, yes, you can. So I want this to be at 10. I want it to go really, really fast and zoom around the entire place. And then I want it to slow down and stop. The null I created is a control. Yes, 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 yes. You got it. You got it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You understood more than you think. Yeah. So the null I created is just a placeholder for the expression controls that I made. It essentially is just a little container where my expressions can be changed. The null itself doesn't do anything. It doesn't animate anything. You can use it to animate things, but by itself, it just is kind of a blank void. There's nothing in it. There's nothing you can do with it except for, if you want, you can add expressions to it. So, for example, I sometimes use it a lot to debug my code. I'll use it as like just a blank slate. It's essentially if you had, are we familiar with Photoshop Cryptic at all? Have we ever opened Photoshop? It's like if you were making a smart object with a layer. It's just now sitting in another entire composition. There you go. See? A lot of people seem to live with Photoshop a lot more. Yeah. So a smart object is essentially the same thing as your null. It doesn't do anything. It's just now boxed up, put in a container, and put somewhere else. That's essentially what it is. And I can also edit it inside that little container to do stuff with it if I want to. So I'm using this as my placeholder to edit my code. So what did you want me to do? You wanted me to stop it? Okay, let's stop it. I now have basically these effects feeding into my wiggle. So rather than coming in here and putting in values for wiggle, you can't really tell it to stop without putting zeros in it. It's not going to stop itself. It's going to have to just go forever, and the only thing you can edit while it's live is just putting in the value that makes it stop. But if you wanted it to slow down, well, now I can animate it because I put some code in here. So if you want, I can easily go over that again, or we can slow break down that over time, because that is an entire class that I took to learn this stuff. It's not something that you're going to understand in a day, but if you can figure it out, it makes you so much stronger of an animator for it. So I have this now, the magic of After Effects again. Tweening, you don't have to do anything in between. That's what animation, I think Adobe Animate is for. Yeah. Adobe Animate is the traditional method of animation. The 9 old wise men from Disney, they're drawing frame by frame by frame by frame by frame, which is fine, and it's wonderful, and it's a style I miss so much. But for the sake of animation in After Effects, you're basically only creating the start and the stopping point. This is the beginning, and this is the end. And it's creating all of the in-between frames for you. And I cannot tell you how powerful that is. You don't have to draw 20,000 frames every single second. You can just draw 1 or 2 dots, and it'll fill the gaps for you. It's stupid how awesome that is. So a lot of people take advantage of it. But anyway, I'm getting off track. I want it to stop. I'm going to tell it to stop by putting in the number 0, which means nothing. 0. Okay? So let's look at these graphs. If I look at my X position, do you notice how it starts to dwindle off? Oh, and then it stops because I animated these keyframes. So it's going from essentially a value that I set, 10 or 100, and now I am slowing it down, and the keyframes in between are getting to 0, and then it stops. So, did all that move too fast, Cryptic? Let me know. But again, you can easily watch this in the VODs later at your own discretion, whenever you're ready. How I made that happen, I did breeze by that a little fast. Really? Okay, awesome. But I can help you break that down in a whole other topic separately. Okay, we are getting a little over time for this animation demo, but the last thing I wanted to talk about, we got to expressions early, actually, so thank you, Cryptic, for getting us there. And we talked about the value graph, speed graph, kind of. But the last powerful thing that After Effects is really good at, that is a little bit easier to understand for, I think, beginners, is pre-composing. So let's go back to my surprise and my easy ease and my context for my constant dots, okay? And I'm going to get rid of this. Goodbye. I hit the comma key again for that, or I'm sorry, the double quotation mark, the quotation code key for that. It doesn't pop up on the bottom, but all that stuff. Yes. Quote key. So right now, I have some dancing dots. One is very excited, one is not. Let's look at the excited dot. This is kind of where we were getting to when you guys popped in for a second. Okay, so I'm gonna take my easy ease, and I'm gonna go into my graphs here. I'm gonna click on this button that says Graph Editor, top right, boop. I'm gonna click the button U, letter U for Ultimate Lifeform. Click on here, and oh yes, I forgot that we had both of our graphs highlighted. Now that they're separate, I'm gonna go in my edit value graph because it's just so much easier to look at. And underneath it, this big hill is the speed graph that we were looking at before. I'm gonna hide it for a little easier time to look at, okay? And if I click on this little magnifying glass, whoop, it zooms right in so I can really see what I'm looking at here. Okay, so let's dig in. I'm gonna make this thing a little bit more exciting to look at. Again, this is the standard default easy ease. When you hit F9 from a constant keyframe, it'll just go a little curvy. Let's see. Constant, curvy. Constant, curvy. Take a look at these dots while I'm doing this. Constant. Ah! No. Curvy. There we go. Alright. So, let's go back to the curves. And I'm going to just make this a little more exciting. Again, the more vertical your curve, the more excited it is, and the faster it moves. The more horizontal your curve, the slower it gets. So, let's go... Yeah. Hitting N brings this button a bit, essentially, to wherever my timeline is. And same thing, the letter B, boop, brings it to the front. B for beginning, N for end, I guess. N as in Nicholas. Okay. So, pre-composing. We now have an excited dot. He's moving a little bit better. I'm even make it more excited. Way more excited. Yeah, that feels good. Oh, and I did briefly show this earlier, but there is one other thing that you can do. If you hit this little icon on the far left, these 3 line dots where you see underneath here called motion blur. Wait a minute. I want to make sure you can see what's going on here. There we go. What happens? Ooh. Ooh. Notice, literally, motion blur. Now, without, with, without, with. Very fun. A lot of times animators tend to use motion blur. I myself was a very fanatic motion blurrer. But you'll see sometimes it is not exactly a cheat code, but it is essentially another form of animation, but sometimes for traditional motion graphics, if you're using like mostly shapes and abstracts. Yes, it does. It does kill your PC. But it is just another form of animation style that most of the time is used for live action footage and compositions. Like if you're literally comping something or rotoscoping a human in here, it just fits in better with the real world because we naturally have motion blur in our real life. But for the sake of like abstract animation with just shapes and things that aren't really as realistic, we tend to go without motion blur. It is up to a personal preference though. And yes, you are absolutely right. Cryptic is right. It kills the hell out of your PC. Okay, so I'm gonna do something that I kind of was getting to earlier, but we're gonna just try to explain this a bit better. I'm also gonna duplicate this layer by Control D, bring it to the top, just so we can see this better. And I'm going to say pre-comp example. Okay. So if I right-click this layer and I click pre-compose, ew, menu. There's a lot of words, but you don't need to worry so much about what they say. You just need to know one of them leaves them in your current composition. Another option, the bottom one, moves them all to a separate composition, exactly like a smart object would in Photoshop. And if you're not familiar with Photoshop, take this container and put it somewhere else. Exactly. Pre-composing is just like a smart object in Photoshop, essentially. There's a few other settings here, but I tend to just go with the default. Whatever it says is fine. We can break this down as we go. I'm going to hit OK. And now, well, nothing happened. Nothing happened except for the fact that my layer changed colors all of a sudden. Whoa! It looks exactly the same. Nothing is different. But now, if I double-click this, oh! Literally Beetle from Wind Waker. It's all by itself in here. Essentially, I isolated it before. Oh, yeah. Yep. So now it's by itself, and I can now, the benefit of pre-comping is I can duplicate this many times. You can do that essentially before, and you'll have access to the keyframes. The benefit of this, though, is now, say, if I want to, I don't know, rotate it 90 degrees. I'm going to click my rotation key up here. Shortcut for it is W. I'm going to hold Shift and drag it around. Now it's 90 degrees this way. I'm going to get rid of this guy, and we don't need him. And now look at what happens. Ooh. Ooh. Wasn't that fun? And all of this is just linked to this. I am essentially making a copy of it. If I wanted to change the color of it to like a lovely cyan perhaps, everything updates. Ooh, you can start to see the power of this. You hear my pepper in the background, EB Max? Yes, you hear him yelling. All right, bear with me. For the sake of this experiment, I'm going to move a little bit quicker because we've been going a little long, and I want to keep people engaged as best I can. I now have 2 dots that are essentially the same exact animation, but now I can update this guy live and it'll update to the other one. The other wonderful thing is, if I wanted to say, see both of these at the same time, I can lock this composition, toggle viewer lock. And if I click back over here, now they're both available. And I can see what was happening essentially in my other composition. I can move these as big or small as I want to. All right? So here's the main composition that we were looking at. Here is the one that we pre-composed, isolated all by its sad little self. By itself, it's not much. But with extra friends, it can become something more. So if I were to say, ooh, I don't know, duplicate this again, or even better, pre-comp this again, and you can pre-comp these as many times as you want. I'm gonna rotate this again. Oh. And then duplicate it. Oh wait, I didn't do that right. Well, now I'm gonna rotate it again. Okay, there they are. My 4 dots are back. Yay, they're dancing. Uh-huh. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. For some reason, I didn't rotate them correctly. Let's try that again. They're a little off-centered. Let's see. If I duplicate and I rotate. Oh, where is it? W. I want to just make sure that I got this correctly. This is going straight. Now, let's see. 90 plus 45 is 135? Yeah, that's too much. Let's try. I can't math. Is it 180? It's 180. There we go. There we go. It's still off center. I don't know why it's doing that. But I think you can kind of get the gist of what's happening here. So I can duplicate these as many times as I want. But the best part about it is they are all linked to this one animation. Yeah. So if I were to change this, maybe down here, the whole animation over here would change. Ah! Ooh, look at that beautiful square we made. And what if I were to say pre-comp these again? You can pre-comp these forever. You're just copying one little copy a bunch of times. And I'm going to duplicate it. And I'm going to add a fill effect. Now they're a different color. Let's get rid of this horrendous red and make it like a yellow. And what if I were to shrink it? Ooh. And what if I were to do that again with a pink and shrink it again? Ooh. And what if I were to say pre-comp all of this again? Do you see the majesty of pre-comping? It is stupid powerful. This is how you get some crazy kaleidoscopy effects that you can basically duplicate forever. And it is all linked back to this one puppy back here. If I were to move this back to the center, let me make sure he's right back where he belongs. Notice how everything updated? Are you ready for what you're about to see, chat? I'm gonna actually do one more thing. I'm gonna rotate this all again. And, nope. Let's see. Is it 45? Let's go 45. Ah, there we go. That's what I was looking for. Are you ready? Wow. And we got all of this from one little dot. One dot made all of these flowers. Isn't that fun? So, essentially, that's the gist of what I wanted to show you today, is there's a lot of different wonderful, powerful things that After Effects is very good at. It is essentially best at abstract animation with shapes. You can do character animation in here, you can do composition, pre-comping, you can do like, I'm not as good as, say, rotoscoping, like live people in here. I still haven't gotten that skill I want to take at some point. That is another class that I want to take where you're basically comping real people with your effects. If you were to say like type stuff in the air and you have like a hologram effect happening, that whole thing. That's a whole other thing you can do in After Effects that I have yet to learn, but you can do. But basically, that is the gist of what I wanted to teach you today. Yes, and it's so powerful. There's a lot of really powerful things you can do with the software. And while we're here, I would like to actually show you some of the plugins that I tend to use. Boris FX plugin. I have seen that. I haven't actually diving into that as much. I know more about the abstract side of After Effects, and I cannot wait to dive into like the Ash Thorpe commercial side of After Effects where you're taking like Ghost in the Shell effects and like layering them in real space. That part, making UX UI, oh brother, stick with me because we're going there. We're going there. Again, the sky's the limit. We're here to grow together. So essentially that's the gist of what the tutorial was going to be today. But I would like also to tell you, Cryptic, what I was going to tell you earlier, my setup. So this is the default standard setup that After Effects gives you, but my setup looks a little bit different. Is she going to crash? She didn't crash! Yay! Okay. So let's go through some of the stuff that I use. My program is a little bit different. So for example, I use a lot of shortcuts, and some of these are all pre-built into some of these plugins. So this is a plugin that I adore that I just found out called Mute. I'm going to sign in. Don't look at my screen for a second. Wait a minute. Goodbye. There we go. And she's logging in, she's logging in, she's logging in. There we are. Alrighty. So now, this is a wonderful plugin that is made by, I think, Mograph Factory. I'll type it in the chat. Mograph Factory. And it's called Mute. Oh no, how dare you make me log in? Oh, come now. Twitch, you're gonna make me do this now? Oh, fine. Fiddle-dee sticks. One more thing. Sorry, guys. I gotta really quickly log into my Twitch because apparently I didn't do that yet. 1 second. Start saving some questions for me to answer before we switch gears to something else. But, let me know. One moment, y'all. Sorry about this. Okay. I'll be right back. I am still here. Just don't look at me. 1 second. Okay. Twitch. I don't remember my password. Do you? Because I don't. One moment. Oh, we're loading. Oh, we're so loading. There's some fun music happening in the background. That's right. Sorry about this. I think this is it. Let's see. Ooh. Sorry for all the typing. There we go. Give me a code. Tell me the code. There we go. We're back. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. Oh, we're back. Oh, we're so back. Alright, cool. I'm here. Yay! Alrighty. Oh, good night, DP Max. Thank you for letting me know. Enjoy. Thank you for joining, darling. I'll see you next time. Thank you so much. Okay, so yes, this plugin is mad powerful, and I'll tell you about it. There's a lot of wonderful things that you can do with it, but essentially it just makes a lot of shortcuts for you so much easier. As you can see, there's already right here all of your extra keyframe options that you would normally have to open up and go in here to edit. There's a graph editor right in the middle of it. Like, guys, so look at this. This is redonk, okay? Oh, why do I have 3 keyframes? I just want 2. Go away. I also control left clicked to get rid of that keyframe in the middle. So take a look at this graph. Take a look at this graph. Alright. So if I wanted to edit these keyframes, I'd have to normally come in here and do all this. Not right now, baby. I want to do it like this. And then I just press, let me see. Is it enter? Still learning this plugin myself. I think it should live update. I want to say it does. Oh, I'm going to look like a real fool here in a second. Oh, there we go. Yep, the middle button updates my key graph. And now it looks exactly like it in the center. Super rude. I mean, you can see how fast this is. It just live updates. It is a monthly subscription, $2. However, there are a lot of plugins that are free and also some that you just buy. Once you buy it, you have it. So for example, this is another plugin that is essentially the same thing called Flow. I don't remember exactly how much it is called, but I get all of my plugins essentially from a website called After Effects Plugins. I think that's exactly what it's called, I think. Or no, AE Scripts. That's what it's called. AE Scripts. to the max. This plugin is profound, mad powerful as well, and it does essentially the same thing. It's just this one has lots more built into it, and this one is just a standalone, and once you buy it, you have it. Very powerful, same exact thing, every single thing you can do, and it's really fun, easy UI to edit. I'm holding control to keep the length. There's a lot you can do with this plugin as well. All right. But the one I like the most about Mute is this one has a lot in one. So, for example, this changes your key position, your anchor point. If you were to like want your, let's say, that's another example. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna actually have some fun really quick and just maybe we'll have a fun result. I don't know what we're making right now, but maybe something fun will happen. Give me that yellow. Son is yelling! Why are you yelling? Hi, sir. Do you want to see my son? What'd you say? Say it again to the chat. Hi, bud. This is Pepper, everybody. Oh, you can't see him! Oh, no, there he is. What'd you say, bud? Pepper, what'd you say? You don't want to open your mouth now for everybody else? And my sleepy daughter. There they are. Alrighty. I just figured out how to do that. I have to do it at least once a stream. Sorry. Okay. Also, there's a color picker. So I can just easily pick colors. These are colors that I have preset my my brand colors to use. Oh, not a problem. That's all good. Go eat food, dude. I'll be here chatting the whole time. And yeah, check out the VOD later. All of the VODs will be saved in the YouTube subscription. And also, jump in the Discord. We can easily continue the conversation later. If you're gotta go, no problem. I was wrapping up soon because I'm probably gonna do the same thing as you. Have fun eating dinner! Or breakfast or lunch or brunch. Yeah, so plugins that I use. Flow is standalone. Once you buy it, you have it. Just like old school Adobe, once you don't have to do a subscription anymore, you can just have it. I miss that. Mute is $2 a month, but it's really profoundly robust. That is not all you can do with it. You can also, what I mainly love this for is you can save expressions in here. I basically took an expression course and stockpiled on all the freebies they gave me because I'd be forgetting. So I can go in here and let me see. Did I save wiggle? I sure did. I can click in here. Oh wait. Well, if you click, it'll auto add your expression to whatever parameter you have highlighted. I don't want it, but I do want to go in here, and if I click this little edit button, all of the lovely expressions that I've saved over time, over the years, are just saved in here, and that is such a time save, because I be forgetting stuff. Sometimes I don't remember what the code was, but I remember enough of how to read it, and I can go in here and just edit whatever I need to tweak it to. So helpful. What else? What else? What else? There's a lot of other panels here that I don't really use. This is your color saver, GIFs. I don't even touch that. Library. There's a lot of things that I haven't really entered and figured out, but my favorite thing is the code. And then also this thing is new. This was not here before. It's essentially Flow within Mute. But yeah, you gotta save $2 a month for it, and then Flow is standalone. Once you have it, it's yours. The rest of these, similar functions. This is also essentially the same thing. I got this from School, not School of Motion. Very similarly named though, Motion Design School. They have a lot of awesome discounts on courses. I like School of Motions a little bit more because they do classes that are live and you can do things with them. Those courses are mostly standalone. Once you buy them, you can edit and look at them later. But School of Motion will walk you through everything as you go. But they offered this plugin as well. And this is essentially the same thing, except for the fact that this handy little tool... Oh, see, we edited stuff. I wonder what the result looks like now. Oh, it's not moving. Well, we'll have to look at it later, because I just edited that. That's right. We'll look at it later. What else? What else? What else? Ease copy. Big one. Big one. And big fan. I've had this forever. Essentially, if you have, say, I don't know, if you have a specific animation that you have on one keyframe, you can press ease copy and it'll copy the exact same incantation of the value that you use for the graph. So if I had exactly this snake wiggle on another frame, I can paste this snake wiggle on any other parameter if I want things to look like the same, or if I forgot exactly how I used it. Because the one thing about After Effects is you can copy keyframes, but it will not copy the value graph. It will copy something close, but this does a better job. And it's just very, very helpful and handy. Last one I mainly use is called Rift. I still really haven't figured out how to use all of this. This is a very unintuitive UI. Are you hungry or what? You can eat in a minute. Son's yelling. It's not dinner time yet, sir. You'll be okay for a few more minutes. He'll be alright. I'm not starving my cat's friends. I promise he's fine. I've lived with him longer than you. Okay. He's just got a mouth on him and he has to yell. I'm getting peckish myself though, so I'll probably wrap soon. But what Rift does, just to briefly go over and tell you, where is that animation? Here we go. Right. So, for example, if I wanted to, let's say I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. I'm going to hit S for scale. I'll make this like 35. And I'm going to just boop, 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 Control D. I duplicated a bunch of guys. What Rift does is it essentially makes a layered effect of what you can see. So I still don't exactly know how this works per se, but if I were to say do this, all of my layers shifted over and now look what happens. Whee! You got a little trail. And I can say space these out by, instead of 2 frames, 5 frames. There is the effect of Rift. It essentially is great at spacing out layers for you. So what you normally can do is you can go in and individually move these over. If I were to say, I think it's Alt. Which one is it? There we go. Alt page down makes them shift over at 10 frames. I think it's just Control. No. Oh no. No. This is 1 frame. Yep, they're just very closely together. Yeah, if I were to hold Alt, page down, I would normally have to move these over one at a time, and you see how arduous this is. That is so annoying when you can just press Rift and it'll even make a very nice sine wave for you. You can change it if you want it to be a specific kind of graph or a curve, but this is just really helpful. And I forget how much this was. I think I paid for this as well, but I'm gonna say, let's do 10 frames. And I'm gonna highlight all these puppies, press play. And now, yay! Fun dots. So yeah, it's a very helpful, handy tool if you want to have like a layered effect of different kinds of things going on. What else? There's a lot of other plugins I use. Actually, I'll keep these for the sake of this example. This on the side over here, I think is called, what is it called? It is another, I think it's free. I want to say it was made by Sander van Dijk. Sander is a fantastic teacher. He actually has a course on After Effects. If you've never looked at him, he's stupid amazing. Sander van Dijk. I don't know exactly what nationality or language it is, but he's incredible. Another person to look out for. This, I think, is from him. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think it is from him. I'm not sure. But this is a layer manager. So if I wanted to color my layers a different color really quickly, boom, I can do that. If I wanted to, say, highlight all these layers, I would normally have to go in, click the color. I can't see what the color looks like. It's really annoying when I can just boop, bam. It just helps you move faster. All right. And last but not least, all of these up here are just extra things that are very handy. Ray Dynamic Color is another thing from Sander that he uses, and it's kind of hard to show right now in this example, but you can essentially have like a color, a set color scheme that you can lock in here, because it's very hard to get, say, exact color swatches. A lot of times After Effects Color Picker will get close, but it's not one-to-one. It'll be like a little askew or a little bit darker or a little bit lighter than you want it, and this will just essentially save exactly the same swatch color or hex codes that you have saved. Very, very handy. Void, don't know exactly still. I have this for some reason. I forget exactly what the purpose of it is. You can look it up. There's a reason for it. I forget why. I'll save that one for last, but butt capper, I'll just show you what it does real quick because it's fun and silly. Go away. If I draw a big old snake, I hit my pen tool and I just drew a line real quick. I'm gonna give it maybe 20 to 30 line of stroke, and I'm gonna make it white so it's easier to see. I'm gonna get rid of this line, this circle. Butt capper just puts a butt on it. There we go. Now it's got a booty. Perfect. Very, very easy instead of going in and, well, you know what? Now, again, these are all new updates to After Effects. After Effects essentially brought your properties manager that you would have to toggle down, toggle down, toggle down, toggle down. There's your stroke. Good Lord, is that a lot of work. When you're trying to move quickly and you don't want to do all that, now they just have a property that just lets you put this, and it's much easier. But this is a new development. That was not there before. And butt capper is essentially your cheat to do that. And then last but not least, decompose text is exactly what it sounds like. I'm going to go in my text box here, Control T for text, click anywhere. Oh, come on. Let's write Crystal K. I guess it wants me to say something. There we go. I have to hit enter. Nope. This is still weird for me. It's not very uniform. Usually when you hit escape, it'll stay, but not in After Effects. It's weird. I have to click away, then hit escape. All right. I'm going to move this to the center. I'm going to make this font a little bit bigger. And I'm going to make it center aligned and not italic. Let's make it bold. There we go. One more time, I'm going to align it to the center. There we go. Okay. What precompose? What precompose, nope, decompose text does is exactly what it sounds like. Boom. What happened? It split all of my letters up. Isn't that nice of it? Now, I have a K. All of these letters are individually now animatable. Very, 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 very handy. Because before, if you wanted to say animate your text, there is a whole entire set of tools and an animate menu dedicated to animating text, but it is very weird and wonky and not really intuitive at all. It's kind of weird. And there are ways that you can do it. I've just not used it for very long, and I'm sure if you over time have practice with it, it is much easier to use. However, this is just so much easier when I can just go in and I just want to move something over a smidge, and then I can just duplicate all of that over. Oh yeah! And did I mention, so let's just, for the sake of this example, I'm going to animate my K real quick. I'm going to go, let's go to, again, P for position. They're all split up. I just want my Y position right now. Let's say I want this to go up, and then I'm going to go forward about 10 frames and come right back. And this is a little hack that they showed you in Animation Bootcamp. If I go into my graph editor, because I live in the graph editor, and I click Control, holding Control, left click, I can now move this up or down, and I made a third keyframe. Moving kind of fast, but you'll see why in a second. I'm going to press F9 to easy ease. Now they're all easeable. Flow, I would say, works great for 2 keyframes mainly. It's a little weirder when you have more than 2, but let's see what happens for the sake of this. Ah, yeah, they all get adjusted. I want one thing happening. All right, and I'm also gonna make this a little bit bigger. Can I look at my, there we go. Yeah. All right. What if I did something like this? Let's do some overshoot. You'll see what I mean in a second. I'm gonna make this a little bit smaller. Oops, sorry. And then last but not least, you can also go in here and finely tune these values if you want a specific, exact kind of effect. So I'm gonna go in here and put like, oh, that's not what I wanted. 0.3. 0.33, and then this is 0.66 and 1. That feels good. Those values don't really mean anything. That's just what I like to use. Even numbers just feel good. I'm going to also adjust this. All right, so let's see what happens. I'm going to make this C dance real quick. Whee! It bounces. It's a happy C. But now I have all these keyframes. I'm going to even, I think it's Alt. Yes! If I hold Alt and I click, I can now, oh no, it's Control. It's Control, sorry. If I hold Control and click, there we go. I can even color the keyframes. They were not colorable before. They are now. I can Control click, make all these keyframes mine. I'm gonna go in here. Let's go into my position. I want to see this. I'm gonna go in here and I'm going to show you the benefit of splitting all of your letters up, because now I can click on all these letters, paste them, and what Rift will do, because before you, oh, hold on. Son! Bye!
Yes.
You found a cup, didn't you?
What?
Oh, was that you?
Oh, okay.
You are not hungry. There are crumbs that you haven't finished yet. Finish your crumbs, Dirk.
I'm not thinking about him.
Ignoring your face until those crumbs are gone. I want to see them gone. Well, then make the crumbs gone. If you're hungry, then finish the crumbs. We don't tolerate pickiness here, sir. Yeah. Yeah, I want gourmet cuisine, and you're not getting it. I love you too. Okay, I'm back. Am I mean mommy for feeding my son the same exact monotonous food every single day? Probably. But if I try to give him a new food, he'll have diarrhea. So I can't. His body literally won't let me. Anyway, if I press this button, all of my keyframes moved over. And now, check this out. Oh, isn't that fun? There's my name. And that took 10 seconds to set up. Versus if I were to do that over time. You can't necessarily, you can still do that the old-fashioned way, but it's just so much easier to control and tweak. And all that took a couple of clicks. So anyway, this is a lesson going on much longer than intended, but this was just a recap of After Effects and all of the things you can do with it if you've never opened the software before. And if you would like to know a bit more about After Effects and you want to pick my brain, we can all continue the conversation in my Discord, where there's a lot more that we can talk about, as well as other software. And I would like to now posit the question to chat. I would like to ask all of you, is there more things that you would like to learn? Sorry, hold on, more things are happening in the background. Bear with me one moment. I want to pull up something. No. Okay. What are you listening to, by the way? I have no idea. Ooh. Alright. I found it. So chat, here's what I would like to posit to you today. If you are joining me today and you enjoyed or got something out of the lovely demo that I happened to show you today, if there's anything that is on your mind that you would like to ask me, please feel free to drop some questions in the Discord or on the Instagram threads. If there's any questions that you have there, let me know. But also, After Effects is not all I plan to do. There's a lot of things on the menu that I want to be able to offer you guys. And again, I'm not a teacher. I want to stress that. I am not a professor. I just happen to have knowledge. And if you want it, I'm going to give it to you. But I'm more so a beginner that just is eagerly learning things, and I would like to take you upwards with me as I go. So as I learn After Effects, as I learn ZBrush, as I learn whatever the heck I want to go doing forward. Son is getting into shenanigans, as well as my name dancing in the corner. Basically, whatever I am learning, you have the right to that knowledge. And we can dissect that together. So what I would like to share with you is this new survey that I have created. What do you want to learn? You can access this survey. It is very bright on my screen. Hold on, I'm getting completely washed out, overexposed because of the server. Okay. What do you want to learn? What do you already know? What are things that you want to learn more about? And is there information that you know that you would like to share with other people? If there's somehow software that you feel really strongly about, like I am with After Effects, at least at this time right now, and I'm continuously learning it over time, would you be comfortable tutoring maybe somebody else in some other software? Or any other form or fashion? Over in the Discord, we have a lot of different places for you to learn stuff, but if you were to perhaps come on down and jump into the Discord, there is an entire new section called the Crystal Library where you can now add your personal notes. If there's things you want to learn, anything regarding, say, again, these are just my personal interests, being illustration, motion design, and graphic design. But if there's stuff that you're curious about and you know really well, if you have notes on it, please drop it in the chat. I also am a huge lover of anatomy. I love the body. I am learning the body right now, and I just got to the quads. So there's a whole host of stuff that you can learn if you want to learn anything regarding illustration. Basically, these are all notes that I've taken over time that I've been using since I made them, and they are free to access if you jump into the Discord if you want to learn some more stuff. And if you want to continue learning motion design, there's a bunch of notes that I just threw in there that's over 100 pages long of just stuff that you can have if you want free access to it. Not just After Effects, not just graphic design, but literally anything that I've been learning, I add to those notes, and I'm actively adding every single day. So I have stuff from, say, online classes I've taken. I have stuff from just software that I've learned over time. There's a ton of notes from graphic design classes I've taken. Illustration, not so much. Again, that's the anatomy section. But essentially, the point is, oh my god, okay, I'm gonna have to finish really fast because my son's yelling. The point is, every single thing that I know you have access to, you can have it if you want it. I don't care. I just want to give, okay? And I'm hoping that in the long run we can learn together and we can grow together, because there's only so much you can learn on your own, and we can all benefit from learning from each other. So that's essentially the gist of what I wanted to get to today. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. That's the wrong screen. There we go. Sorry. But again, I might have to end a little early because my son is yelling at the top of his lungs about food, probably. But we're going to have to end the stream here. So what I think we'll do is, if there's perhaps anybody still in the chat, if you're interested in learning something from me, if there's any information that you would like to know more about, jump on into the Discord. Jump on over to my Instagram to catch every single Friday. I drop some some gems about stuff that I'm learning, as well as stuff that I've learned. Okay, I'm finishing. And if you want to see more of me and my cats and my son yelling at the top of his lungs, I do kitty workouts every single Wednesday at 9 a.m. PST. So if there's stuff that you're like, hey, I need to, basically here we exercise our brains, and on Wednesdays we exercise our bodies. So I will leave you with this because my son is about to destroy half of the house. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. If you got anything out of this tutorial, I'm just happy that you're here. And at the end of the day, PLD, bruh. Keep playing, keep loving, keep dreaming. And again, you know what I know. Every single thing in my brain is up to you if you want to access it. And we just take each other up as we go. So without further ado, that's all I got to say for today. Thank you so much for joining me today, and have a fabulous, wonderful weekend / morning of whatever you're deciding to do. My son's going to continue burrowing. Do you want to say hi? Do you want to tell the lovelies anything before we finish? Son! Come here, pup. Come here, pup. Come here. Tell everybody your favorite pizza sauce. Oh! Big boy here has so many things to say. What is wrong with you? Are you hungry? You just have energy. I know. Okay. Oof. Say bye, Pep. We'll see you guys later. Next time. Bye.